Hi guys, I'm Anime Mixer1, AM1 for short, and today we're gonna be talking about the upcoming Crunchyroll Anime Awards. To some people, this might seem like it's a little bit early to start talking about this, but I think it's actually not early enough. Crunchyroll is likely already planning and trying to get in nominations, and a lot of people online are already going on about what's their anime of the year, as well as all the other little categories like Best Boy, Best Girl, Best CGI, Best Animation, Best Music, all that stuff. But let's admit it, the last two anime awards have been... I think controversial's the word. Now we can't forgive Crunchyroll for making mistakes in the past. They've only done it twice, it's new, it's big, it's not easy, it's not like the Oscars that have gone on for however long it has, I don't know. Although the Oscars also make mistakes. But I think the anime community is very well served in trying to ensure that Crunchyroll is able to make this as good as possible in every way. And it needs to get down to the nitty-gritty, like the voting systems and how you define a category and what categories you have, etc, etc. Now the big issue the previous two anime awards have been one thing. One show sweeps everything! The first year it was Yuri on Ice, which I still haven't watched and the hype has died down for it, so honestly, I don't know if it deserved it, but a lot of people online will say it didn't. But that was because a lot of people who are not normally into anime watched Yuri on Ice and liked it because it was positive for the LGBT community and all that stuff. And I know that that's a good thing, but it doesn't define a good anime to be pro-LGBT. You can't slap pro-LGBT onto something and say, oh, this is great! But that's beside the point here. The point is that a lot of people came out in force that time and voted for Yuri on Ice on everything it was nominated in, and it won everything because everybody who cared about Yuri on Ice voted for Yuri on Ice, and a lot more people cared about Yuri on Ice than most other shows. So obviously a public vote only doesn't work. So last year they tried putting in something else, judges. And the only explanation I was able to find about how this worked was judges and public vote counts 50-50. And what does that even mean? Like, give us an explanation for exactly what you mean it counts 50-50. Does that mean, okay, we have the public vote, let's say you have 1 million votes in one category, and then you have 10 judges. So do each of the 10 judges now get 100,000 votes each, so that you have a total of 1 million votes here and 1 million votes there? But is that really 50-50? Can the judges potentially override the public's opinion? Can we know what the judges actually voted? I don't know. It was kind of clear as mud to me. But it was a step in the right direction. But it's still not perfect, so how should the voting system work? And that's what we'll be discussing first now. Now, let's immediately agree on that public voting only is not necessarily a good idea, because then the most popular mainstream anime is more likely to get more traction and get more votes, and not really represents what's actually good according to people that actually know anime. I mean, it's not like you'd ask people from Saudi Arabia who just recently got to start watching movies in cinema about what is the best movie of all time, because one of the first movies they got to watch there was the Emoji Movie. So everyone would probably vote the Emoji Movie, because that's the one they've seen. You see, it doesn't really work if you want to find out what's the best movie, and the same works with anime. You can't expect people that haven't watched a bunch of it to know the details of it. And of course it's great that people can get into anime like this, but I hate saying this, but their vote might not be as informed as some other people's. So I think the crux of the voting will actually be having an informed public. Now you see, personally, last year there were a lot of anime I didn't have time to watch, and so there were many categories filled with anime that I had no idea what was about or anything. And I made a rule for myself. If I don't know at least half the nominees, I don't vote. Each category has 6 nominees, so if I knew 3 or more nominees, I would vote. If I only knew 2 or 1 or none of them, I would not vote. That was a rule I set in place for myself. And ideally it would be possible to impose similar rules on everybody who votes. Maybe before you get to the voting page, you get the sort of, which anime have you watched? And then you cross them off, and then you get categories where you have watched the majority of the nominees. But categories where you haven't watched the majority are hidden, or you can't vote in them, or something like that. Of course, this would also rely on the honesty of the internet, and yeah, that's a problem. But it might help just a little bit. Also, for instance, ensuring that the votes are only cast once, for instance by a simple login with an email attached. No personal information or anything, you just enter an email address and you get a confirmation email saying, hey, now you can vote, and then you go in and vote, and you can only vote once per email address. And of course, again, we're talking about systems that can be bypassed somehow and depends on the honesty of the internet, but the more blocks we have like this to make sure that no tampering is done, I think that's the way to go. And of course, Crunchyroll would just delete any server with all the emails just immediately after all the voting is done. And that's how I imagine the voting can be done. It's not perfect. I'm sure that many people will point out, hey, there's a flaw with your idea. And of course, I welcome you to mention that flaw to me. Make it in a comment. Tell me about it. I would love to hear it. And I'm sure Crunchyroll would love to hear it too. Because I hope Crunchyroll will accept ideas and suggestions for how this should be done to make it the best possible. But I've only talked about public voting, so what about the judges? Shouldn't we keep the judges, you might say? And I say, yes we should. But not to affect the overall results. Because last year I noticed some places like Reddit had their own unofficial anime awards. No fancy live streams and all that, just simple voting and then turning out like a list of, here's the stuff. And some of these awards had some judges in them, and what they did wasn't just making the judges vote count as part of the overall. They had public vote winner and the judges winner. And I think that's a brilliant idea. Crunchyroll could split up the popular vote from the public and the judges vote, and they could show them in separate categories and maybe both agree on one winner. Maybe one chooses one and one chooses another. Who knows? But that way more anime might actually get a chance to get the spotlight they deserve. And before you go, oh, but we can't have two winners for a category in a proper award show, nobody is actually going away with like an Oscar in this, you know? If what happened last year is anything to go by, they just get some people up there to talk about the nominees, and they say the nominees are, and then there's the winner is, and they say the winner, and then there's a video clip of the winner, and everybody goes, yay! And then we move on. Nobody is up there to get an award for anything, basically. Not a physical one anyway. So I see no problem with two winners. Public vote winner and judge winner. I think that's a win-win situation. That was bad. But then we get to the part of what anime do we actually have to vote for? Now, as far as I understand, and I'm not privy to the details of how this actually works, but some anime YouTubers and industry professionals and such get each year to put in their nominations for who they want in each category. Then they find out what they want in each category from all those nominees and stuff them in. The problem here might be that sometimes one anime might get nominated in way too many categories. See Yuri on Ice and My Hero Academia Season 2. Now My Hero Academia Season 2 is actually a big worry, because that might carry precedence over into this, which has Hero Academia Season 3 competing. You see what I'm worried about? Because My Hero Academia Season 3 was awesome. Yes, it was absolutely awesome, and I liked watching it, and I'm sure a lot of people liked watching it as well, and it's gonna sweep everything again this year, perhaps, if we put it in every single category. So maybe, just maybe, when you wanna nominate something, we should make a rule that no second or third season or stuff like that can go on. So maybe there should be a rule about, like, only first seasons or standalone series and stuff are allowed. Except for the category Best Continuing Series, which they had last year, and that's an okay category. You can stuff My Hero Academia Season 3 in there and let it win there, that's okay. But otherwise, let's keep these second and third seasons and so forth just out of it. They've had their time in the spotlight when they were new. Let's move along. Because really, part of the reason why anime awards even exist is to promote a variety of anime, to promote anime in all its glory, not just the big popular ones from the year. And I think that letting these popular shows with multiple seasons compete in the general categories is counterproductive to this goal. So My Hero Academia Season 3 and Attack on Titan Season 3, among others, probably need to just stay low. But again, that's what you have the category Best Continuing Series for. Put him in there, let him fight it out there. That's good. But speaking of specific categories, there's another problem with the categories. we don't know how to define them. Crunchyroll slaps best something onto it and then just leaves it open. Let's take for instance best CGI, okay? So Land of the Lustrous won last time, and of course it probably deserved it. I haven't seen the anime, but I've seen enough clips to know that, damn, that's a good CGI. But I believe it was only Land of the Lustrous and one more anime that actually competed like for being fully CGI. All the other nominees were part CGI, they had integrated CGI. So how should we define this? Is it the best show that is fully CGI, or do we just have the best CGI moment, or do we have best integrated CGI? How do we define this? And people obviously thought, well, best CGI show, so the one that's fully CGI, and that's actually good, Land of the Lustrous, and they voted that. And that was pretty much a best case scenario, because not all categories are that easy for the mind of the public to just agree on like that. Let's take best action. Now, the first year also had best fight scene, but they discontinued that. So now we have best action, and of course, My Hero Academia has some great moments in their fight scenes. But let's look at it from a bigger perspective. What does best action mean? Does it mean the series that had the best action overall, like continuing, like the complete fight scenes, not just the moments? Is it a show that had the most super hype, awesome scene in all of fight history of the year? So are we looking at the series as a whole and trying to determine how much and how good action there was overall, or are we just looking at specific moments, like our favorite moments? Are we looking at specific scenes and how good the animation was, everything like that? And, you know, you really gotta define this better. And I think there are actually 4 categories which really suffer from this that I've yet to get to. It's best opening and ending, and best boy, best girl. Now, let's start with best opening and best ending, which have the same problem. A lot of people probably just think of best opening and best ending as being best song. Now, if that's the case, then obviously the category should be best opening song and best ending song, not just best opening, best ending. The way I see it, the song and the animation needs to combine into one whole goodness, so to speak. But the general impression I got during the voting last time was that people just listened to the song and then they went, did I like this song or not? They didn't go, was the animation good? Did I like the visuals during the opening? And I think Crunchyroll really needs to make that clear. Are we talking about only the song, or the song and animation combined? Because I saw a lot of people on YouTube who would talk about their votes for the best opening and ending sequences, but they would all talk about the song and the animation combined. Once you got onto Twitter and other places and Reddit and just check out what people say they vote for and why, it's almost exclusively, I vote for this because that's the best song. And yes, a good song helps, absolutely it helps, and when I listen to an opening, I don't care about the animation of it. If I just set it on and want to listen to it, then I don't care about the animation. But we're talking about the opening as a whole, right? Right? So Crunchyroll, clear that up. And while we're on it, clear up best boy, best girl. Now the story about this, as far as I know, is that it used to be called best female character and best male character, which even without explanation all encompasses the meaning of what they want us to vote for in general. The overall most balanced, most relatable, and generally best character in their respective gender categories. But then they just go, you know what, we'll call it best girl because that's what people say online, and to keep up with that, we'll just call it best boy as well. And Crunchyroll, I cannot stress this enough, what you did was dangerous. What we have is no longer a best female character and best male character category, what we have is best waifu and best husbando. And if you absolutely want us to vote for who the best waifu or husbando is, by all means make that a category of its own. But if you actually want us to tell you the best character, then maybe rename and redefine these categories. In fact, just define all the categories with exactly what you want us to vote for. Best villain, is it the one that killed the most people? Is it the one that was the most evil? Is it the one that did the most heinous acts? Is it what is it you want us to vote for? Best slice of life, is it the calm atmosphere? Is it the comedy of it? Is it just how relatable it was to us? Is it how real life it was? What do you want? So Crunchyroll, please define what you want us to vote for. Define the category so that we know what you're after when you want us to vote. Though there are technically three categories that I think the public should not be able to vote on. I know this immediately sounds controversial, but hear me out. Best animation. best CGI, best score. These three categories are very much technical categories. I am no expert at animation or music. Especially music. I have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about music. People ask me, what kind of music do you listen to? Whatever I feel like listening to at the moment. And since these categories are so technical, like best animation, what is actually good animation? How do we define good animation? And that's not easy for someone who is not in the know to actually know. Same with music. How do you define a good score for the show? Or CGI? How do you actually define what the good CGI is when it's not as obvious as Land of the Lustrous being the best CGI show of last year, but, you know, details. These categories are tricky to have the public vote on. Now, if we do it like I mentioned previously, that we can have a public vote and a judge's vote, then we can still probably have both of them there, but I think that in this case, the judge's vote kind of matters more because you'll probably have industry professionals that know what they're talking about and know what categorizes as good animation and music. I'm not saying the public won't know their good music from their bad music and all that stuff, but since these are really technical, just let the professionals handle it. I would also like to say that you should only use anime in any category that was released in that year, so especially in films, because last year a film from the year before won, and it was Your Name, which I haven't seen. I hear it's a brilliant movie, but even in the movie poster you use on the website for voting, it says very clearly 2016, and that just kind of ruins it when you're trying to award shows from 2017. Your Name might be great, but it's not so great that it transcends time. It's not The Girl That Leapt Through Time. The anime film that leapt through time. That's an idea. These are my main talking points, and I hope that they will be taken into consideration and not just swept under the rug like, no, this is fine. Of course, being such a small channel, it's not like I'm expecting a lot of people to see this anyway, but I can try. I do like the idea of an anime award, but I do feel like when one series keeps sweeping everything up, then it just shows that something is wrong. And you might say that, oh, but last year the best anime of the year was something completely different than what swept everything else. And I know, and Made in Abyss was actually a very worthy winner of anime of the year. But it seems weird that it would win when Hero Academia Season 2 had swept everything else and was also nominated for anime of the year. To me, there was something that just didn't add up there. It wasn't like I wanted Hero Academia Season 2 to win. I did want Made in Abyss to win, but I wasn't expecting it, and it seems weird. And there were immediately, like, I remember from the live stream show, I saw the replay because I couldn't watch it live because time zones. But they immediately made a joke referencing to that Yuri on Ice had won anime of the year before, as well as sweeping everything else, and then it just kind of went, see, it's not rigged. But that just makes it seem like a cover-up. I might just be making up conspiracy theories in my mind that are not true at all. But this is the kind of stuff you'd expect from a cover-up, where it would be, oh, one thing is winning everything. Nobody will believe that we're legit unless something else wins the absolute best award, so we'll have something else win the absolute best award. That will show it's not rigged. We will rig it to make it look like it's not rigged. Again, happy Made in Abyss won, but the way it got there kind of seems weird because I expected My Hero Academia Season 2 to win because overwhelming popularity in everything else. What I'm hoping to see this year, what I'm hoping to see on the next Crunchyroll Anime Awards, on the Crunchyroll Anime Awards 2018, is variety. I'm hoping to see various anime win in various categories, not one winning everything it's nominated for and the rest of the categories just being like, these are some other anime. But this one is winning everything! Pay attention to it! With all this said, I am looking forward to the Anime Awards 2018 and hoping to see it being vastly improved and hopefully just working out smoothly for everyone involved. When it's time for the actual voting and all the nominations are in and we can start looking at them and seeing what's there, I will likely have a look and make a video and a reaction video and just go, I think this and this should win and all that, and I'll also have a little look at seeing, do I think they've learned a lesson? Do I think this is fair? But that's for when that happens. For now, this video is pretty much over. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the points I made. If you think I made some stupid points or have ideas of your own or things that you think won't work with my ideas, please leave a comment. I'd like to see your points. And hopefully we can all contribute to a very well executed Crunchyroll Anime Awards 2018. But until then, remember, I have been Anime Mixer 1 and I approve of this video.